This is Progress Culture.
There's this over here and there's that over there, and so now I'm going down this road. But you continue to go down the road.
Right.
So you continue to develop within yourself.
So it's kind of one of those things like Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid. You plant a seed and you kind of cultivate it and you get it at your own pace. It's not a teacher in a formal sense. Do it this way. This is what I do. Here you go. And you found your own way to get it done on your own path.
Right.
And I think that's extremely important because of this idea of the infinite possibilities of the universe.
Sure.
And the extrapolation of your own ideas is the presentation or fulfillment of at least one of those infinite possibilities that can lead to the disclosure of some truth of the universe. And it's very individualistic. And I would almost apply it in a way where, like you speak about the birds and their behavior and their desires and their fears and the way that they do that. Well, I play many times a week for several hours at a time sitting at a cliff in the woods that overlooks the bay. And the birds come and they're not scared. And the herrings will sit 10, 20 yards from me for long periods of time. And they come with regularity, almost as if when they can hear and feel the vibrations that I am there, and they come by and they come close. And it's cool, man. I think that the individualistic characteristics of anything, that idea that we're applying to ourselves as humans, I think applies to other things as well. Now, and again, that's just my perception.
But the birds also were teachers.
They're teachers?
Teachers.
Huh.
Absolutely.
In what sense?
Well, I mean, if you just listen to the birds, you'll hear several different phrasings, like rhythmical phrasings. You'll also hear several different pitch changes that, as man developed his concepts of music, he also heard that first. He heard it there.
In nature. Yeah. Interesting.
I've also learned a lot from listening not only to the birds, but all the sounds. When I'm sitting at that cliff and if I close my eyes and I begin to just listen without imposing where it's coming from or what it is, and I just strip that away and I just hear it, and I hear the birds and I hear the water and I hear the leaves in the wind and I hear an airplane zoom overhead. Instead of trying to say, it's an airplane, and it's the birds, and it's the wind blowing in the north, and this, you just hear what's happening. And those sounds all interact with each other, and they have an effect and an impact.
Interesting. And
what I have learned from that is that harmony in music is considered the simultaneous sounding of one or more, or two or more tones. If that's harmony, simultaneous sounding, and you strip away anything that's good or bad or consonant or dissonant, and you just accept that harmony is simultaneousness. I learned that from listening to sounds and birds and things. Harmony is simultaneousness.
That's really interesting. It kind of reminds me, I remember as a kid, and it was after a rain, we heard the birds, after a rainstorm, you heard another one over here. Then there was my grandmother had a bucket underneath she kept underneath the drain, and the water was dripping. It was like, whoop, then you heard the bird, whoop, and it just made me think about, early man, when they heard that, and they were like, wow, that sounds neat, that rhythm, how can we recreate that? And from there, music was born. I imagine. Just listening to what you're saying.
It's part of the process, right? Like it's communication.
Sure. Yeah.
Is part of that process. And I don't believe it. Just in that case, or I'm sure you've listened to a lot. They're not always talking about the same thing.
Sure.
They're not always looking for the thing.
Sometimes they're warning each other about predators.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. That's right.
That's true. That is true.
That's true.